Hello everybody, this is Devin here with the Rogue Deck Chronicles podcast, and this week we are here profiling another deck that's coming from the Journeys Together set. So the deck we want to profile today is a spin on archetype that everyone was experimenting with when the Journey Together set was announced, and that is with the card Mamoswine EX. So Mamoswine EX is a Stage 2 fighting type Pokemon that has 340 HP, that has the ability Mammoth Hauler. Once during your turn, you may search your deck for a Pokemon, reveal it, and put it into your hand, then shuffle your deck afterwards. And then it has the attack Rumbling March, costs 2 fighting energy, does 180 base damage, and then does another 40 for each Stage 2 on your bench. So, what does that really mean? It means we're going to try to get a whole bunch of Stage 2s into play, which may sound like it could be difficult, but it really isn't when you think about the resources and the tools we have in format. So first off, we are going to run a 2-2-2 line of the Pidgeot EX. And Pidgeot EX does have the quick search ability, allow us to look for any card in play in our deck and just put it into our hand. And again, Pidgeot EX is a Stage 2 itself, so that helps buff up the attack for Mamoswine. We are also going to run a 2-2-2 line, or 2-1-2 line of the Blaziken EX. Blaziken EX is another card that came from Journey Together. It is a 320 HP Fire type Stage 2 Pokemon that has the ability Seething Spirit. Once you're in turn, you may attach a basic energy from your discard pile to one of your Pokemon. Any Pokemon, so we can power up any of our Mamoswines in one turn with an attach and a Seething Spirit. And if we absolutely have to, we could do Smoldering Assault for 200 damage, but we won't be able to attack this turn. So 200 for Fire type weakness is not irrelevant in the current format, with Archaludon being a card and a lot of grass decks becoming more and more popular. So that fighting weakness is, or fire weakness is amazing. We are going to run one Luxray with the Swelling Flash ability. This is a Stage 2 Pokemon, but we do not have any of the pre-evolutions in there. So, Swelling Flash, once you're in turn, if this Pokemon is in your hand and you have more prizes remaining than your opponent, we can play it into the bench. So, it's a Stage 2, but it does not be an Evolved Stage 2, but it still counts for a Mamoswine damage calculation. And it does have Wild Charge for 180, but it does do 20 damage to itself for a Lightning Colorless, and we do have ways to get that powered up if we have to attack in a pinch. And then finally, the last Pokemon that we're going to be potentially attacking with that is a Stage 2 is actually the Garchomp EX. Garchomp EX is a Stage 2 Water Terra type Garchomp that has the attack Hydrolander. For a single fighting energy, does 160, but you can accelerate 3 fighting energy from your discard pile to your bench Pokemon. So we could do 160 hitting in for water damage instead of fighting like normal. And it does have Sonic Dive for 2 colors energy. Discard 2 energy from this Pokemon. Does 120 to one of your opponent's Pokemon any way you want. So not too crazy there. And then we have one Fezandipiti for draw support. So not a bad little setup in Pokemon. It is a Stage 2 deck. So Stage 2 decks historically have some consistency issues, but we believe that the Pidgeot EX is going to help us that a lot. In terms of the ace-spec choice for this deck, we're going to go with Precious Trolley. This Precious Trolley is going to be how we are going to set up our bench turn 1 as often as possible. So we get to start your deck for any number of basic Pokemon and put them into our bench, then shuffle our deck afterwards. So typically we'll be using Precious Trolley for up to 5, but if we have, if it's late game and we haven't pulled it and we have the Garchomp in play, we can take advantage of Area 0 after deaths if our opponent is playing that. But really it is going to be a fill your deck up for 1 card. 5 basics for 1 card is always a really good ratio. We will run one Buddy-Buddy Poffin to get some of our Pokemon out, primarily the Pidgeys. We do run a counter catcher because we do want to be behind in prizes sometimes. 2 Earthen Vessels to help us get our energy back. 1 Pokégear to help search for some supporters at times. We have a lot of situational supporters, so we definitely want to get a Pokégear every once in a while to do what we need to do. As this being a Stage 2 deck, Rare Candy is a must, so we're running a full max copy of 4 of those. 1 Super Rod, 1 Switch, 1 Ultra Ball. We have other ways to search, but Ultra Ball is really not a must-have and a high account for this deck. And then 1 Jamming Tower to help with some of the annoying tool cards in the format with HP buffs. We want to neutralize that while we're able to make sure that we're hitting as high as we can. In terms of supporters, we're doing 4 Arven. We definitely need Arven to get items and tools pretty streamlined. Running 2 Iono, running 2 boss, that way we at end game we can grab a card from our opponent's bench and knock it out for extra prizes. 1 Morty's Conviction. If our opponent does want to get a high bench, we can take advantage of that. And then 1 Professor Turo Scenario, so we can just put a Pokemon into play. So if we want to pick up the Fezandipiti and try to get another stage 2 put together, we can do that. Or we have a damage stage 2 that we want to pick up and prevent some prizes, we can do that as well. And then we have 2 different tool cards. We have 1 Big Air Balloon, which we are stage 2 deck, give one of our stage 2s free retreat. And then TM Evolution is very, very important, where we can get half a turn quicker with our evolutions in turn 1 or turn 2 to get to our stage 2s just that much quicker. We are running 1 Reversal Energy. This is how we can attack with the Luxray. So this could be one of those situations that we are kind of stuck in, or it just provides colorless energy to anything else, and that would help us with some of our attack costs. 6 fighting, 1 fire is going to be the rest of the energy, and that's our 60. So as always, this deck list will be in the show notes and also in the description of the video, so if you want to look at it, you'll be able to copy and paste and play with this. But that being said, let's hop into some games and see how the deck runs. Alrighty, so we are going to be going second. So let's lead with the Swinub, and then obviously put the Gible and the Pidgey on the bench. I'm going to hold the Fezandipiti to see what we're playing first, because we can call for family if we draw some other pieces. Okay, so we are playing against Ancient Box of some form, or this could be Poison or Archelodon. This Nest Ball will tell us what our potential options are here. This looks like maybe a Terrapagus deck? Alrighty, so we're going to be poisoned. But this lead Swinub was never really... The way I look at this deck is this lead Swinub is always going to be a setup. So if you can get 1 turn Call for Family off, you're in a really good spot. And if you can get more than that, then you're in a better spot. Okay, so we only have 1 turn for Call for Family here, so we need to make this work. We need to make it count. So we do have the Arven. So the Fezandipiti, I don't think is ever going to trigger, because they're going to rely on poison damage to trigger the Fezandipiti. So let's Arven. For a Trolley and an Evo. Let's attach the Evo. Let's Trolley out and try to fill our bench as much as we can. And then let's call, or it's TM Evo, the Gible, and the I guess the Pidgeot, the Pidgey, so we can set up. Because at least we have the Garchomp for next turn, potentially. And we still have the open bench slot, so if they do end up taking a KO with Fezandipiti, then we can just plop the Fezandipiti down and take the cards. But we have the Garchomp for next turn for sure. Pound Store will help us get what we need. Okay, so we're getting Iono. But Town Store will still help us get what we need. We still have to do another play. So we have a Piloswine here. We have a Turo scenario, so we can always pick up this whatever's are in the active, which is going to be good. We have the basic, but now we don't have access to that Garchomp. So we need to figure out a way to get to that Garchomp. So let's see what we can get off the top deck. If we get some way to get to the Pidgeot EX, then we'll be fine. Because then we can start putting our stage 2s into play and into the active spots. Knocked up by attack, take 4 damage counters. Okay. Okay. So, what we can do, this is going to be a little cheeky to keep prizes off the board here, is let's see what's in the town, what our town store can give us here. Let's just go shopping a little bit. So we have a TM Evo and we have a Big Air Balloon. We're going to do TM Evo. So what I want to do here is, actually, if I'm just going to Turo it up, it won't matter if I do the cheeky stuff. So let me double check. Is it any Pokemon? Okay. So let's pick up the poisoned one. Put there. Put those there. We'll evolve that. We will do that. I don't really want to super rod those 2 pieces, because I would definitely want to keep that there for now. So we're going to Team Evo. Just pieces to start really getting things kind of comboed out here. So if we can get this Piloswine out of the active, we can get that Garchomp into play. And then once the Garchomp's into play, we can start really putting pressure on our opponent. Now we are 1 evolution away, so we have the basic energy in hand, from really getting Mamoswine up and running. So if we can, I don't think our opponent's going to Iono us now. It'd be silly if they tried to. So we really do need to try to get some form. We could reversal energy, right? Pokemon. Oh, if we have more prizes. We do. So we can reversal energy. Or he can just give us the KO. That works too. So we're going to promote and see what we get here. Because we can KO with the Hydrolander there, because the poison will chip away. So let's quick search. Actually, grab the Fezandipiti, because we did die to damage this turn. So I'm willing to take the flip the script turns here. There's a Piloswine, so let's Piloswine this turn. Let's Arven. Okay. No, the counter catcher won't do just enough just yet. Okay. We'll grab a Rare Candy this turn. And we'll grab that air balloon and just stick it in our hands for now. We are going to attach. I don't think there's anything else for us to grab from the town store, but I still want to grab the town store. Yeah, there's nothing really else that's there. We are having a little bit of an energy problem, because a good bit of energy is in our prizes. But we'll get a prize out of this. It takes small damage, but it's worth it. I'm going to Super Rod the Pokemon back into the deck. That way, we at least have the Piloswine if we have to go Piloswine. And we're going to Hydrolander. And then we're going to put the energy onto I'll put one on each because I just don't know what we're going to get next turn. And Poison does the tick. We get the prize. We got a quick search, but we have one into play. So next turn, we can do a couple combos to get 2 Mamoswines up. We still need another energy, but I think we can easily get that. The Garchomp will get poisoned minimum. But I think it's going to be... We can chain a couple KOs here with our high HP Pokemon and be able to kind of try to restabilize the board state for us. The one thing I really would like to do is try to get this Torchic up to a Blaziken, and we can start that combination when we get the Mamoswines up and running. The other really good part is Garchomp already has free retreat, so we don't have to use the Big Air Balloon on the Garchomp. The Big Air Balloon is definitely for the Mamoswines. So we'll see what our opponent does. Because at any point, we could always Pidgeot quick search for a gusting card, because we're still behind on prizes, so we can always just try to slow down a mechanic here and there. Like if we want to just target that Bluebonnet, we can, which I think we want to when we get set up. Okay, so we got the energy right here, so let's start getting everything set up here. So let's grab, doesn't really matter the order here. Let's start grabbing pieces that we want, which are right now the double Mamo. And then let's Earthen Vessel the Pidgeotto away. We still have plenty of rare candies to utilize. We'll just grab both energies, thin out the deck just a tad here. And now we get the build-up cards here. Oop, nope, we want the Combusken this turn. So now we're protected a little bit. We have a lot of what we need. So we're going to retreat. I'm gonna put the Big Air Balloon on there just in case we do get hand disrupted. Still have plenty of resources in the deck that we can pick from. That's always a good thing. And we're gonna Rumbling March. Now we're doing a lot of damage. 300 is what the calculation is because we're doing that 600 on Petron there. But now, really starting next turn, with us set up the way we are, the Earthen Vessel is really not going to be helpful right now. Because we have 4 of our 6 energies in play. The other 2 are in the prizes. I really would like to try to focus down on this Timber and Brute Bonnet combination, because that seems to be the big attacking threat of this deck, is that combination of status condition hit for no energy. So that's what I would like to do with the Pidgeot, to be truthfully honest with you. So I'm not sure how we want to go about it. So first what we want to do is I want to put the Combusken, turn that into a Blaziken. And get that Blaziken into play, just to help us set up in the future. So the question is, do we want to target down the Brute Bonnet or the Timber? I think we want to target down the Brute Bonnet, but I think the Timber takes more turns. Let's see how many bosses we have in play, or we have left to play here, because we don't, and the counter catcher's not live right now. Oh, we do have 2. We have 2. So let's let's play around with this here. So I'm going to put the Fire Energy in place. It's not a good use of our resources just to keep it there. So I am going to take advantage, just get rid of this Brute Bonnet. This Brute Bonnet is the accelerant. It is the card of trouble here for us. But before we do that, I want to just take cards out of the deck. I want to thin the deck out just a tad here. Let's Rumbling March for the KO. Hopefully that gives us a Jamming Tower, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. The Jamming Tower can slow down any Brute Bonnet shenanigans if we can get that out. We can retreat this Mamoswine. We need to get another energy. Unfortunately, the other 2 energy are in the prizes. So, but depending on who he leaves in the active, we could always just Hydrolander for the KO. Okay. So he grabbed the... Okay, so he left that there. So that gives me a signal that we did exactly what we should have. Which is... Oh, no, we don't want a Jamming Tower yet. The Brute Bonnet was the key to that little strategy. So what we want to do this turn is, I think... Let me see what Defiance Man does real quick. Even more prizes and there's 30 more damage. Okay, so let's take out the Conkeldurr. I'm actually going to Jamming Tower and just leave this Mamoswine in the active, just as the situation. And we're going to take the KO here. So we've used all of our bosses to kind of get him back like several turns. The Jamming Tower definitely puts him back because unless he has a counter stadium, the ancient booster capsule in his hand is dead, even with a Brubana in hand to pair with it. If this Mamoswine dies, which is fine, he's taking 2 prizes. We're equal on prizes again, but we just put 2 energy into the discard pile, which triggers what we need with the Mamoswine. So we can Seething Spirit that energy onto the Mamoswine there. We can, let's quick search to see what's in the deck. So we can quick search. Let me look on my board. Actually, we're gonna quick search a Rare Candy. Can't do anything with it this turn. We can Arven. One Buddy-Buddy. Put one Swinub in play. Next turn we can set up another stage 2. And we can Rumbling March this turn. And we get an energy because it has to be the last 2 prizes or two fighting energies. So our board is pretty much set up now. Our game state is to the point where we got all these stage 2s out. We are able to identify the threat, which is that Bluebonnet, which was causing them to have the free attack. And we Jamming Towered away their ancient booster capsules late game to really just put it into a situation. Tails in the Pokemon catcher, so we know that they were just trying to stall something up, but we have everything we need with 2 free retreaters. We have quick search, we have Pokemon search, so we're going to be able to get this Swinub to turn into a Mamoswine, regardless of what they do this turn. So late game Iono doesn't hurt us once we set up the Pidgeot and the Mamoswine, so we can always keep on streaming our stage 2s. But they do have a late game Ursaluna here. And they just took game on us. No. They're just going to try to force us to do 260. I don't know why I thought he did 340. I was like, wait, oh, he gets... Oh, no, wait, we have too much HP. So there's the Rare Candy, believe it or not. So we'll Mammoth Hauler for the last Mamoswine. Don't have to do this, but I want to have our bench to be the best way it can be. Going to show off what we can do. And we'll do the 680 against this Blood Moon for the KO. We were able to KO prior, but we wanted to show it off. But there's a game with Mamoswine and Garchomp and friends. Stage 2 decks can work, especially against a deck like this Conkeldurr Poison strategy. But let's go jump into another match. Alright, so we're going second again. But we have to mulligan, so we'll wait for our opponent to set up. We ended up mulliganing twice. That's interesting with this deck. But let's get set up here. We have the Team Evo in hand, which is great, but we don't have any Pokemon to pair with it. But we do have the Arven. And we're facing Dreepy, so this would be a really good matchup here. Dreepy is more of the top tier decks in the archetype and the meta archetypes right now. So we'll be able to take advantage of his stadiums. Now, here's going to be the very important piece, is we're definitely going to have to set up and get ready for next turn quickly. So Arctozone will get us 1. Arven can get us a trolley for a full bench. Team Evo, we're going to have to definitely go very aggressive here to keep up with their pace. So I'm thinking, because we have the Gabite in hand, what we want to do. I think Trolley is the best call here with a Big Air Balloon. Because we're not going to be able to evolve everything this turn. But we have what we would like to have this turn. So let's... Team Evo, we want to at least do the Pidgey. I think the Pidgey in the... No, because we can't do Gible because we have the piece in hand. I'll do one of each of those. The Torchic may get KO'd if he gets a quick enough Dragapult down. But then we can just substitute it for a Luxray, because we're going to be behind on prizes regardless. And that's assuming our opponent gets the Dragapult out quickly, which I just have to assume it will. That's how whenever I play against these Dragapult decks, I have to assume they're setting up by turn 2, turn 3 at the absolute latest. But they just put a Badoo out map, which makes me feel like they're not ready. And we're weak to Badoo, so we're taking 20 damage a hit. And we're not going to be able to use our Rare Candy. So we're going to have to go up the slow way, which is fine because we have the Gabite. We don't even have energy in hand. So we're not going to be able to do anything. So he's just going to stall us. So let's see. Really, if we would have gotten Arven... no, because we'll have to get the energy. We have the TM Evolution. We can start setting up our bench with the TM Evolution potentially. But we just have to try to get stabilized again. Iono would be great. So let's see what our opponent does. I think he just had to stall us out for one turn. Maybe it's going to be more than one turn now. Yep, Itchy Pollen again. So we have no items for the turn, so we can't Rare Candy. But we can't Rare Candy into anything anyway, so the cards are kind of dead in hand. So let's Arven. Let's see what we can kind of get out of this situation. Really nothing for now. I'm gonna grab a Pokégear just so whenever he does stop the doing, we'll have the Pokégear. We can get the reversal energy or any of the energy. I'll take any of it, preferably the fighting, but reversal or fighting will give us the Team Evo where we can start getting everything kind of put together. That item lock really has slowed us down significantly. More because that Arven could have been for a Earthen Vessel, which would have been able to get us to trigger the evolution, because then we would have been able to get our energy. But let's see. Our opponent seems to be very much in a slow state themselves. They're not getting the track lock. They're not getting their rare candies. So if we can just turn the corner, we can be able to get what we need. But we're not being able to get energy at all, or any of our evolution pieces. We are one card away from being able to move forward with our game state, but we're kind of just stuck. Because if we get that evolution off, Pidgeot, Mamoswine, boom, 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 boom. So he Iono'd us, which is not a bad thing. So we could get cards that we need. Mamoswine, there we go. So there's a Mamoswine. We have an Iono of our own. So we can get energies, or get more access to more cards. So Itchy Pollen KOs the active Piloswine, so now we have counter cards active as well. I'll put the Pidgeotto in play. It does have the free retreat, so it'll be able to help us pivot a couple things. We can't do much right now, but we can do enough. So let's start comboing out some pieces here. And let's see what we're able to pull off. So like I said, we're one card away from really putting a lot of pressure onto our opponent. I don't think I want to put either one of those in that empty spot. So, I'm gonna Iono, see what we get from the Iono, and then quick search. Okay. Let's quick search. Get that Garchomp. I'm gonna evolve into the Garchomp. I'm gonna retreat into the Garchomp. And then we're gonna Hydrolander, gets us the KO. And then also, nope, there is no energy discard, never mind. We have energy in hand. There's the Fezandipiti, so we do get... So now we have to play around those Dusclops and the Dragapult. So, the good news is he can't one-shot the Dragapult with the regular attack without assistance of the damage counters from the Dusclops. So we do have a Rare Candy in hand, we do have this Swinub that has an energy. We can grab what we need with the Mamoswine Pidgeot combination here. So we can restabilize and put pressure that we're ready to go against our opponent. The one piece that I am really worried of are these damage counters from the Dusclops. And now we are playing, unfortunately, a potential 7-prize game with our opponent forcing us to have to KO more single prizers before we get to the Dragapults themselves. Unfair Stamp, which doesn't hurt us as much as our opponent thinks it does because of the Mamoswine Pidgeot combination in play. So let's see what our opponent does. That Blood Moon Ursaluna being on the bench is secretly a really good thing for us because that's 2 prizes we can clean up toward the end of the game. We just have to make sure we put ourselves in a position where we can take 3 prizes and then just scoop those 2 unexpectedly. So we have to see what our opponent is going to feed us. It gives us the Blood Moon now, knowing that we have to punch through it, which we can. So here's my question. Do I waste... I have to waste a or use a boss's order on one of these draft blocks, right? Preferably one with the EXP share, that way I don't give that one a free energy. It doesn't matter, it has 2 energies now anyway. Okay. So, alright, let's set up the board and then we'll look at the board here. So, we're going to Mammoth Hauler. For another Mamoswine. We're going to Rare Candy into this right here. That way we're going to get that set up. I want to quick search. For the Blaziken. We're going to do that. We want to... no. I would like for this to be the Luxray. If I can get the Luxray, I would be very happy. Let's Pokégear. For the boss. I think giving us that, I think really gave us the choice that we had to go with. Because we can't KO this Blood Moon Musona. We just can't with the 160. So I want to... I want to boss the one with the experience share. It's the most set up. I really was thinking of the Dust Noir, but that gives us a prize. And if he wants to give us prizes with that Blood Moon in play, we have already shown that we can just grab stuff. So that's the first of our 2 bosses. So we have to be very careful what to do with that last boss. This is going to turn potentially into a Dragon Ball. And if he gets too fancy and too picky with this, with these the Dusclops, Dust Noir, and just gives us the prizes, we can sweep up and just snatch prizes out of nowhere. And they know that. They know seeing that Pidgeot is the biggest threat, I believe. And if they get an opportunity to, I would not be surprised if they somehow boss this Pidgeot into play. There's one prize. Okay. So I don't see them giving us this Dusclops unless he can get 3-4 prizes in a turn. Because this is now, the Garchomp is now dead. He's putting 6 damage counters on our side. Can I do 320 with what I have? I think I might be just shy now. And I can't trigger the Luxray because we're tied on prizes. I really don't want to put a Pidgey in play unless I have to. Alright, so let's Artizone, see what we can find. At this point, it might just be pulling cards. You see that Torchic? Just don't want to. Okay. So let's pull cards out of the deck here. So we don't have a way to put another Mamoswine in play. And I have no way to protect that Torchic. Okay. So what I'm probably going to do... I'm just going to take cards out of the deck and kind of try to thin a little bit. No, we'll do that. Yeah, this Dragapult's put us in a spot here. Want energy in hand. I just want to be able to streamline energy next turn if we don't get messed up too hard. Because what I don't really want to do is put the Torchic and just give a prize. This Pidgey, this Torchic, too much HP. I think we're just one. Yeah, we're one shy. We weren't able to set up that. If we had a full board, we would have been better, but we're just one shy, which. Oh, that feels really bad. But I don't see, unless he evolves us up, I don't see how he can get 3 prizes this turn. He can for sure get 2. Because leaving this Blood Moon is going to be, if once we get one more prize, that Blood Moon can be ours. I just don't see how we're going to be able to do much with it. So let's see how the turn kind of lays out. This Pidgeot is definitely on the ropes. So he's going to do the Dust Noir. I guess my question is... Question for right now is, I don't know the math, I don't know how this is going to happen. Is he going to be able to take 3 prizes from me this turn and just take the game? With our high HP Pokemon in play? Or are we going to be able to survive and be able to take the Blood Moon or this Dragapult out if he does do the Dust Noir play this turn? I don't think he can see himself taking all the prizes he needs this turn, but he has set up that Fezandipiti for if I don't take prizes, or I don't take enough prizes, then he can just draw. And if I target the Fezandipiti, it opens up the Blood Moon. But I definitely see, yeah, our opponent is making us take more prizes here. So he's setting up next turn. That's what he's doing. He's definitely setting up next turn. So do I boss this Dust Noir and just get rid of all those damage counters? And then I can one-shot everything else? I think that's the play. I think that's the play. Is that we boss the Dust Noir. Go down the 2 prizes. Set up our board this way. And if he can get 3 prizes without setting up the Dust Noir, then we take that out. Because if he knocks us out, we're behind in prizes, which opens up our counter catcher. And the Fezandipiti, all that stuff is all fun and games. Like,
I think we just limited the amount of damage counters we see on our board. Because our counter catcher is not in a discard pile, so I'm fairly certain we still have it in deck. Okay, so I mean, we still have the 2 fighting the Pokemon there. Yeah, so sorry for being a little quiet. I'm definitely thinking this out. This is very much a chess game, and I love it. I think us taking that Dusknoir definitely messed up the plays. Okay. There's a reason why we put the energy onto that Blaziken. So we can just attach and retreat if we have to. But that also means we're not going to be able to KO those 2 little prizes on there, because now we're going to have to go through this Dragapult. Because he's not going to be able to get what he needs out. He's only going to do a little bit of damage. He's trying to set up his board for the big sweep. That's what he's trying to do. So we do have the Air Balloon, so we don't even have to waste an attachment if we don't want to. But we're doing 300. We're 20 shy. That's the very frustrating piece right here, is we're 20 shy. Oh. And I don't want to give him prizes. So let's attach. I'm gonna Iono. I want to put him down to 3 cards. We're down to 2, but we have a whole bunch of ways to get cards back. Let's Jamming Tower. Force him not to rely on any of his shenanigans. Let's pay the retreat cost and put up this fully powered or fully healthy Mamoswine there. With Seething Spirit, the fire energy onto here. And then we'll just, again, we'll poke the 300. It's not a KO. It doesn't turn on the Fezandipiti. I don't see, because he doesn't try to do another Dusclops or Dusknoir. So he's going to have to try to position damage counters again. And the Jamming Tower does not help. Okay. So the Iono, so we can't Professor Turo. He can retreat into something else, but we end up taking a KO and getting the 1 prize situation, which if we KO something as a return that isn't for the game, it does proc his Fezandipiti, which I don't know if that matters. But this, we win. We win. There we go. We beat Dragapult EX with Mamoswine Garchomp, and that was such a good game. I really wish our opponent would have given us the opportunity to get the KO for the damage, but that Mammoth Hauler, quick search combination, setting up the board, even with us getting stalled out with that item lock, that was a really good game. I'm very, very happy for that deck. So,
Mamoswine Garchomp is such a fun deck to play. As you saw in that last match against Dragapult, as long as we can get set up and make sure that we don't get those Pokemon that are damage counter range out and we were able to get those saved quick enough, this deck can do a lot of damage. Yeah, we were doing 300 and not one-shotting the Dragapults, but we were just one stage 2 away from being able to do that. There's so many different variations of this deck. I love the Garchomp, the Hydrolander. It's such a great middle game recovery kind of move, and we saw that one of the matches as well. We were able to kind of power up a Mamoswine for free almost. But the Mammoth Hauler quick search combination can help you set up many stage 2s into play fairly quickly. That Precious Trolley, I wouldn't say there's another ace spec that should be in this deck. This is the #1 and only choice for this archetype. So, but thank you guys so much for watching the video, looking at the gameplay. If you made it this far into the video, please like the video, please subscribe to the channel. We do a deck showcase every single Friday at noon Eastern, and we also have a podcast that drops every Thursday at 8 AM Eastern that we kind of go over weekly topics involving the TCG game and just different concepts with the TCG. So if you're looking to be a better player, just want to know some relevant news, our podcast does that every Thursday as well. That being said, guys, again, thank you very much, and as always, have fun playing those sneaky decks.